Life is not a random collection of moments, struggles, or surprises. It is a story, and God is the author. Every page, every chapter, every turn in the plot has meaning. Even when the ink seems dark, even when the words blur with tears, remember this: God is writing your story, and He never writes without purpose. He never forgets a single line. He never loses control of the narrative. The same God who formed the stars and spoke the universe into existence is the one scripting your destiny. You are not forgotten, and your life is not off course. But too often, we want to hold the pen ourselves. We want to skip chapters, rewrite endings, erase pain, and edit out the waiting. We want to know how it all works out, and we want to know it now. Yet faith doesn't work that way. Faith is trusting the author even when you can't see the next sentence. It's believing that the one who started the story will bring it to completion in His perfect timing. You see, God never wastes a word. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour has a divine reason. What looks like a setback to you might just be the setup for something greater. There are moments when the story feels hard to read, when loss strikes, when prayers seem unanswered, when dreams appear shattered. You might think God has gone silent. You might feel abandoned in the middle of your own chapter. But remember, silence from God doesn't mean absence from God. The author is still at work, even when the ink dries slowly. Sometimes the greatest stories are written in the quiet, in the waiting, in the unseen moments when character is being built and faith is being refined. God isn't just interested in giving you a happy ending. He's shaping you into someone who can handle it when it comes. When life hurts, when it doesn't make sense, say to yourself, this is not the end of my story. You are still in process. God's pen hasn't left the page. And no matter how broken your past may seem, the author specializes in redemption. He takes torn pages and writes grace across them. He takes what the enemy meant for evil and turns it for good. He writes beauty out of ashes and strength out of sorrow. The cross itself looked like the end of a story, but it was only the beginning of the greatest one ever told. Think about it. Every great story has conflict. Every hero faces a moment of darkness, a moment of doubt. Without struggle, there is no triumph. Without storms, there is no faith. Without pain, there is no depth. So if your chapter feels heavy, if the pressure is real, hold on, because that tension you feel, that's the moment before the breakthrough. God is not done yet. The ink of your life is still wet, and the best pages are still ahead. You might not understand what God is doing right now, but you don't have to. Your job is not to write, it's to trust. Your job is not to control, it's to believe. The story God is writing for you is greater than anything you could have written for yourself. Sometimes the detour is the destination. Sometimes the closed door is protection. Sometimes the delay is preparation. When you understand that, you stop panicking and start praising. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, use me. Don't envy someone. Everything else is chapter. You don't know what it took for them to get there. You don't know the pain they endured, the faith they had to build, the nights they cried out to God. God is writing your story, not theirs. Comparison kills confidence, and it clouds your clarity. Stay in your lane, trust your author, and let him unfold his plan. Because when it's time, no one can stop the story. He's written for you. The question is, will you trust him when you can't trace him? Will you believe when the pages are blank? Will you stay faithful when it feels like nothing is happening? That's where strength is born. That's where champions are made. That's where destiny takes shape. Jim Rohn once said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. God isn't trying to make your life easy. He's trying to make your faith unshakable. He's preparing you for impact. The waiting is not wasted. It's training. The hardship isn't punishment. It's development. The challenge isn't random. It's part of the calling. You can't skip the process. Every page matters. Every sentence carries weight. Every pain holds purpose. And one day when you look back, you'll see that every chapter led you exactly where you were meant to be. You'll realize the moments you thought were endings were actually beginnings. You'll see the fingerprints of God in every detail, in every delay, in every detour, because the author was faithful all along. There's a reason God calls himself the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He knows how your story started, and he knows how it ends. You're just living the middle, and the middle is where faith grows. The middle is where you learn to walk by trust and not by sight. The middle is where character is formed, where strength is built, and where your relationship with God deepens. So right now, if you're in a storm, hold your ground. If you're in a valley, lift your eyes. If you're waiting for an answer, stay faithful. The author of your life doesn't make mistakes. He never leaves a story unfinished. The pen is still moving, and your breakthrough might be closer than you think. God is not rewriting your story because of your mistakes. He's redeeming it through them. The same hand that wrote creation is writing restoration in your life. When fear whispers, you're done. Faith shouts, God's not finished. When doubt says, this is hopeless, hope replies, the author is still writing. Don't give up before the next page turns, because sometimes the miracle happens right after the darkest night. Sometimes your victory is written right after your breaking point. If you quit now, you'll never see the ending. God had planned for you. There's an urgency in this moment, not to rush God, but to awaken your faith. To rise up and say, Lord, I trust you even when I can't see. To declare, I will not let my story end in fear, in failure, or in regret. To stand firm and say, God, write what you will. I surrender my plan for yours. Because the truth is, your story is part of something much bigger than you. When God writes, he doesn't just change one life, he changes generations. You are being written into eternity. Your obedience today echoes forever. The small steps of faith you take now are shaping a legacy that will outlive you. Don't despise your current chapter just because it's difficult. Every great masterpiece takes time. Every great testimony comes from a test, and every great calling comes with challenges that stretch your faith beyond comfort. The time is now to trust deeper, believe stronger, and stand taller, because this is not just another day. This is another page in your divine story. Don't waste it doubting. Don't waste it worrying. Use it to grow, to give, to glorify God with your life. Remember, every heartbeat is a sentence in the story. He's writing through you. So when life hits hard, lift your head high and say, God is still writing. When doors close, say, the author knows best. When others doubt you, say, my story isn't over. And when you feel weak, remember that the author of your life is also the strength of your heart. The same God who raised Jesus from the dead is raising you from despair to destiny. There is power in your pain, purpose in your process, and glory in your growth. You are not the sum of your failures. You are the work of a divine author who specializes in redemption. Trust him with every chapter, every paragraph, every word. Because one day, you'll stand on the mountaintop and realize that what once felt like chaos was actually perfect composition. And when that day comes, you'll look back and say, God, you were there all along. You'll see that the story was never about how strong you were. It was about how faithful he was. The pen is still in his hand, the plan is still in motion, and the promise still stands. So hold on, keep believing, keep walking, and keep turning the page. Because your story, his story, is still being written. And when God is the author, the ending will always be greater than the beginning.